Hi, I'm Sam Willoughby from Happy Valley BMX Club in South Australia. I think what I love about BMX is probably the individual aspect of it. I was always a big fan of footy when I was younger. I loved playing footy as well, and just love sport in general. But I think what drew me into BMX was probably the individual aspect, and that it was kind of all on me, and I enjoyed the self, that I could do whatever I wanted with it kind of thing.
Tell us in 30 seconds about how this season, just this 2015, has gone for you so far.
Yeah, so 2015, I've had a few good races and a few not so good races. It's probably been about half and half. We've started the season over in the US at the end of February, and got a couple of wins there, and then had a couple of bad races, and started off the first World Cup in Manchester not too bad. I was in second in the final and ended up going down. So yeah, a few little hiccups here and there, but for the most part I'm physically in good shape and everything's on track, so looking forward to continuing on.
Okay, and the next one, tell us again in 30 seconds or so what you achieved in the last 12 months.
Yeah, the last 12 months were really successful 12 months for me. I was fortunate enough to win the 2 out of 2 World Cups I competed in last year. I won the World Championship time trial and the World Championship race over in Rotterdam in Holland last July, and had a really successful season on the US front as well, winning 14 races and did quite well over there. So yeah, it was a really good 2014 for me, and just trying to carry some of that momentum through to 15.
Okay. This weekend, what are your expectations? You're the reigning champion. You've got the target on your back, I guess, to defend that title. What are your expectations? Who are the hardest people to beat, and why?
The expectations for this weekend are pretty much the same as always. You know, I go into a race first of all trying to be in the best shape possible, and then second process is to try to execute. So for me, the plan these days is just to try to go there and execute my plan and do everything as best I can, and for the most part that's good enough. So that's the plan this weekend, is to put my best foot forward and basically see where it puts me. Competition-wise, obviously Anthony's doing quite well overseas as well at the moment, and every time we come back we seem to battle at this race. So Anthony, and then some of the younger guys, you know, Bodie and Corey coming through, and Maxi Cans, my training partner, so he did quite well, got the win last night in the wet, so he'll be all amped up and ready to go.
You talk about Anthony. Do you think it makes it even better, or more of a challenge for the fact that you'll be at a World Championship final and look over and there's the bloke that you used to go to a party with 6-year-olds?
Yeah, I think it makes it more normal, really, because we grew up side by side each other since we were 7 years old. You know, battling for state titles and club races every week. So yeah, it's kind of just been a path we've followed the whole way through. We've been next to each other on the gate for the last 15 years or so, so nothing's really too different, and yeah, it's fun. And
when you're lined up, there's 3 guys going for the win down the last straight, and one of them's Anthony Dean. Do you really want to? Do you have to beat him more than the other guy, or does it not matter?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I'm pretty competitive when I'm out on the track. It really doesn't matter who it is. I want to beat him pretty bad. So no, I wouldn't say that I have an extra target on Anthony's back, no.
Talking about your will to win, people have said that you'd sort of cut off your own arm to win a big race or win the Olympics. I mean, how close that is to the truth? That what wouldn't you do to win a race?
I mean, yeah, I'm a pretty competitive person, and wear my emotions on my sleeve for the most part, and put everything I have into the sport and continue to do that. So yeah, I mean, when I set a goal and something that I want to achieve, there's not really a whole lot that will stop me from doing it, and I pretty much prioritize everything in my life to try to do that. So yeah, there's probably not a whole lot that I wouldn't do to try to win something that I want to
win. Does it trouble you that your sport is one that you can put that much time and effort and dedication into, and an accident or someone can take you out and everything's dreams are up in smoke?
Yeah, our sport is pretty I guess, cutthroat in the respect that, you know, a lot of things are out of your control, and you know, as I've gotten older, I've had to learn to deal with that more and more, and it's very hard in that respect to, you know, you put a lot into it, but obviously there's no guarantees, but I think that's what kind of draws you to the sport at the same time, is that's where you get the rush from, and that's what makes the victories sweeter.
Okay, stepping just away from competition a little bit, who or what have been the biggest influences on you personally, and made you the person and the athlete you are?
I think influence for me, growing up, I always, like when I was a real little tacker, you know, I looked up to other BMX riders. You know, at the time when I was really young, it was Darren Hawkins, who was an Australian rider here, and he was kind of similar to me as a kid. He had a bad temper and wore his heart on his sleeve, and you know, wanted to win pretty bad, and so I got along with Darren pretty good. And then more recently in my professional career, it's probably been my coach, Sean Dwight. I've been with him now for almost 3 years, so but known him for probably 7 years or so, and yeah, he's sort of been around the sport a long time at the top level and coached a lot of guys that I looked up to: Kyle Bennett, Warwick Stevenson, Kalen Young. So I guess I've drawn a lot of information from him, and I draw a lot of inspiration from all the things that kind of he's done, and he's sort of, I guess, redirected my career a little bit since London, and you know, I've changed pretty much my whole outlook on the sport, my whole physical and mental approach to the sport. So I'd say he's been my biggest influence in the recent stages.
What sort of things? I mean, when you say you've changed your whole outlook, what have you changed?
I'd say from well, physically, I mean, everything's changed as far as a training perspective, bike setup, all that kind of stuff. But probably the biggest change has just been the way that I approach the sport now, and I guess I approach it in a more strategic way, I guess, not so like just bull at the gate kind of thing, and you know, try to be a bit more smarter with my preparation, and understand prioritize things a little bit more when it comes to training, and understanding what the sport requires. As far as I was always very just, I guess, strong-willed, and I'm just going to do more than the next guy, and that's how I'm going to win the race, and it doesn't always work like that. So just a smarter approach in that respect, learning to let go a little bit more, loosen up a little bit. That's probably been the biggest thing. You know, we'll go out and have a good time a bit more, and try to put the fun back in the sport a little bit, and do the work when it needs to be done, but try to keep things in perspective, and that's been the biggest help to me, I think.
Okay, just away from racing again, what makes you tick? What makes you get up in the morning and want to tackle a day?
I think what makes me tick is just the competitive drive I have, whether it's, I just love racing, you know. I've never been a big guy, I've never been a guy that kind of, you know, talks about, oh, I love this track, I love that track, or I only like riding this start hill or that start hill. I'm just drawn to the competitive aspect of it, and I think I'm still pretty young. I'm only 23, and so I'm constantly learning every day, and it was probably a breath of fresh air bringing Sean into my world, because it opened my eyes to so many new ways of approaching the sport. So I think whenever I went through the first Olympic cycle, it was kind of like, you know, we were young, but a lot of guys were burnt out already at 21, and for me it was like I had a somewhat successful Olympics, and then almost restarted my career again. So everything's fresh and new still, and so at the moment I just have a lot of motivation to get up and do new things every day, and I still just love the sport. I love to train every day. There hasn't really been a point where I'm not motivated yet. I'm sure it'll come down the road as I get older, and I'll have to change things again, but right now just enjoy what I do, and it's pretty easy for me to get out of bed and do it.
You mentioned the Olympics, and you said that a somewhat successful Olympics. A silver medal at you know, as a teenager, were you 20?
20, yeah, I was 20, yeah.
Yeah, so a silver medal as a 20-year-old is an amazing feat. Was that not, you're not satisfied?
No, it was absolutely very, very successful Olympics, I should say, in on paper, you know. It's a silver medal, and as I go through life more and more, I realize how much that medal means and how much that experience meant. I would say the reason I say it was somewhat successful is just the way the experience went. You know, obviously I want to go back and do it again and make it a bit more of an enjoyable experience and take some of the knowledge that I have now into that. But that's all, you know, it's all part of it. Obviously, it's all a learning curve. But I would say just the way I approached the Olympics and everything I did leading into it, I somewhat got the result in the end. But I know that there's a lot of things I could do better going forward, and could handle the situation a little bit better and hopefully go one better.
And how, I mean, it's only 16 months away. How much of your awake time do you, or even your sleep time, do you spend thinking about Rio?
I'd say I think about it more this time than I did last time. So we'll see if that's good or bad. But yeah, definitely it's a big box in the future that I want to tick. But obviously also recognising that at the moment it's out of my hands as well. There's still a lot of boxes I need to tick before I'm, you know, ready to step on the gate and win a gold medal. So there's still a lot of boxes to tick, but it's definitely something that I've got my eyes pretty firmly set on and going to put every you know, best foot forward I can.
Okay, just finally, you know, you've won an Olympic silver medal, multiple world champion. How does it? Do you feel like you're now the leader of this sport in this country, and that you know you're the one that's going to lead us into battle at the Olympic Games?
I guess on paper, I've had a pretty successful young career, and somewhat at the moment, yeah. I guess. I mean, I don't sit back and say I'm the leader of Australia, but yeah, I understand that I'm somewhat of a role model to the sport, and that I guess I've created a path that a lot of kids want to follow in by going to America at a young age, winning world championships, you know, being successful in Olympic Games. You know, that's kind of what everyone wants to follow. So there's a lot of, I guess, questions and queries out there of what I've done, what I do, and people wanting to follow in those footsteps. So yeah, I recognize that and I see that, but at the same time, I'm still very young as well and trying to learn myself and do things better constantly, and I guess I haven't really stopped and looked back at what I've done and been satisfied with it yet. There's still a lot more I want to achieve in the sport. So yeah, so I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about that too much.